Talk about Hypopyon corneal ulcer, which is also known as ulcer serpens, which is caused by pneumococcus. So this word Hypopyon corneal ulcers is only restricted if the infection is caused because of pneumococcus. If the infection is caused by other gonococcus, staphylococcus, or pseudomonas, we'll call it corneal ulcer along with the Hypopyon. But this specific term, Hypopyon corneal ulcer, is only restricted to Streptococcus pneumoniae, which is also known as pneumococcus. Coming to the source of infection, it can be because of chronic dacrocystitic or purulent keratitis. So, what are the predisposing factors for this condition? One is a low immunity. Second is a high virulence factor of the organism. So, if the organism is very high virulence, it has high virulence, it can cause more infection. If the resistance of the tissues in the human body is less, then it can cause more infection. If the immunity is less, it leads to the more infection. So, coming to the mechanism of Hypopyon formation. So, what happens when the bacterial corneal ulcer occurs? This bacteria releases some toxins. So this toxins causes inflammation of iris. Normally this cornea is avascular, but the iris is highly vascular structure. When there is inflammation of iris, which is called iritis, there will be leaking out of cells and proteinaceous material. These cells are white blood cells like leukocytes, and there will be collection of proteinaceous material at the back of cornea. In the beside picture which I drew, you can see this is the iris. From the iris, there will be leaking out of cells and the proteinaceous material. So this proteinaceous material accumulate at the back of the cornea. This is called keratic precipitates, and some deposit at the base, which is called as hypopyon. Now coming back to the mechanism. So this corneal ulcers plus iritis, which is caused because of the toxins, lead to the outpouring of the leukocytes cells and collection of proteinaceous material in the back of the cornea, which is called as keratic precipitates, and this all materials get collected in the anterior chamber of the eye, leading to the hypopyon formation. This get deposited at the base, leading to the hypopyon formation. So the cells material come from the aqueous humor and iris, which is a highly vascular structure. As the cornea is avascular, where are this white blood cells and proteinaceous material is coming from? It is coming from the aqueous humor and the iris, because of the highly vascular nature of the iris. Coming to the next slide, flare and cells are seen in the anterior chamber, which is also known as hypopyon. So in the hypopyon, you can see this flare and cells in the anterior chamber. And the hypopyon in case of bacterial corneal ulcers is sterile because there is no invasion of the bacteria into the hypopyon. That means bacteria is not coming into the hypopyon. It is not deposited into the hypopyon. Only the toxins, because of the bacterial toxins, there is inflammation in the iris, which is causing the white blood cells and the proteinaceous materials deposition. There is no invasion of bacteria. That's why it is sterile. And keratic precipitates. What do you mean by keratic precipitates? This proteinaceous material released from the iris and the aqueous humor get precipitated at the back of the cornea, which is called as keratic precipitates, are also seen in case of Hypopyon corneal ulcer. So if the infection is controlled, the hypopyon also absorbed. There is no need of special treatment. If you control the infection by giving some antibiotics, then the hypopyon also absorbed. Symptoms are pain, redness of the eye, circumcorneal congestion will be there, and the discharge from the eye, watery discharge, and photophobia and blurring of the vision can also be seen. Signs is blepharospasm, that means unable to open or close the eyelid. There will be pain in the eyelid, and also swelling of the lid, circumcorneal congestion, corneal ulcer, and opacity can also be seen. Characteristics of ulcer serpens. So why do we call this ulcer serpens? Because the ulcer spreads in the serpiginous fashion. That means it spreads like a snake. I mean from the peripheral to the center. It goes from the periphery to the center. It has two sides. One is the active side towards the center, and the peripheral side, it has a leading side, right? So ulcer serpens has two sides. One is the active side, which is present towards the center, and it keeps on getting infiltrated and keeps on growing towards the center. And the another end is leading end, which undergoes cicatrization. That means it is covered by fresh epithelium. So from the periphery, it moves towards the center in the serpiginous fashion. That's why it is called as ulcer serpiginous. So what are we going to write under ulcer serpiginous? It is caused because of Streptococcus pneumonia, which is also known as pneumococcus, and it is called Hypopyon corneal ulcer. It has two parts. One is the active side and the leading side. In the active side, there will be many infiltration and it spreads towards the center. And the leading side, they will be covered by fresh epithelium. And also the hypopyon is increasing the size rapidly, which also results in the secondary glaucoma, and violent iridocyclitis can also occur. Easily perforation can also occur. These are all the complications of it, hypopyon. Coming to the management, if the secondary glaucoma occurs, you can give timolol or acetazolamide. if the underlying cause is chronic dacryocystitis, then the dacrocystectomy can be done. What is the specific feature? How does the corneal ulcer look in case of pneumococcus infection is, it is a grayish white or the yellowish disc shaped ulcer occurring near the center of the cornea. Right, so this is about corneal ulcer. Here you can see this ulcer serpens. It has active end and the leading end, and in the base there is a deposition which is called as hypopyon.